AI today is a big buzzword, but be ready for it, right? Get the organization involved. Think about the 0 to 1 and 1+. That's the journey that Tauke must think about, right? It's not just moving from 0 to 1, it's the plus that you'll be interested in and commercially motivating for you to step onto the journey to implement AI technologies.
Hello, everyone. Excited to be here. Today, we're excited to talk about SMEs and also talking about that good old question, artificial intelligence. But more importantly, I think automation, cost controls, optimization, things to increase profitability for SMEs across Southeast Asia and Asia. So on that note, I'd love to introduce ourselves and each other. So I'll introduce myself first. Myself, I'm Jeremy. I'm the COO for Lucence, which is biotech AI company. I also happen to be the podcast host of Brave Southeast Asia, www.bravesea.com with 60,000 monthly listeners. So happy to be here. Please, Jingjing, could you introduce yourself first?
Sure. My name is Jingjing. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Superbench. We automate back-end operations for home services companies like cleaning and plumbing business with AI. Yeah.
Sure. My name's Oliver. I have a strong passion for AI. In fact, I've been working with AI solutions for more than 3 decades. One of the fun things with AI is really to see how machines and apps can really step up to the occasion and be part of your friend, to be a friend to you and help you with activities. I'm also involved in 2 global organizations. One is the Global Robot Cluster based out of Daegu in Korea. And the other one is the International Alliance of Robotics Association based out of Hangzhou in China. And we do a lot of work around AI and robotic solutions for businesses. So I'm happy to be here, Jeremy and Jingjing, to talk about how we can help the SMEs.
Yeah, amazing. So, I think the first question is, why do we even need to care about AI and automation if we're an SME owner?
As you run your SME business, right, the cost is already there most of the time. For example, for SMEs in my trades, it's manpower costs. And a lot of time when you grow, you can't cut costs upfront, right? These are the workers who generate revenue for you. Then you need to look at ways for you to grow more sustainably. So you need to look at your back office costs. That's where the automation kick in. So yeah, if you want to grow more profitably as an SME, definitely look into technology. Yeah.
I would say that, in fact, it is important for us to embrace technology today. There are a few good reasons for that. One is if you don't, somebody else will, and they will knock you off the race, right? Secondly, it's being part of our life. And more importantly, if you don't pick up technology, your customers will. And if your customers get a lot more embraced with technology, you are going to be stuck there with questions that you can't answer. So very importantly, SME must step onto the journey and embrace technology. More importantly, understand how technology can help you become more successful.
Yeah, I think it's hard to imagine any SME owner who doesn't use WhatsApp today, right? And WhatsApp is a form of technology that makes it easier to communicate instead of using, a landline or courier fax to talk to your, contractors or your suppliers and so forth. So like I said, we're already using a lot of technology for almost all SMEs that I met. There also a lot of them are using digital banking as well to do their services. So I think very much thinking about that. But I think one of the big issues for SMEs is really about the fact that there's a lot of costs involved, right? And so, they have, you said, the manpower costs, the back office costs, all these costs. I think there is a form of resignation as if I can't automate out these costs, I just have to keep doing it the way I'm doing it. I have to squeeze salaries, so on and so forth. So how should SME owners be thinking about their cost structure and their operations?
I think to start, just look at P&L, right? Under the cost structure, there's a direct cost of goods sold. In the service line, for example, in cleaning, that line is very much relevant to the manpower. Without manpower, you don't have revenue, right, in cleaning. So then when you look down, there's sales and marketing. And most of the time, marketing is online costs. Do you consider this as a cost or investment? Most of the time, I tell the company that this is not really cost per se, because if you don't run marketing, your workers still have salary to pay, but they don't have job, right? So it's a chicken and egg problem. And then the real cost comes from accounting, invoicing, when a customer comes in, your manpower to do sales, scheduling, and then all that rest of the back office. That's a real cost to run your business. And these costs can be minimized when you hire technology than people, especially as you grow. As you grow, it's people, process, and technology. Which lever to pull as you grow, right? Initially, if you have a problem, hire people. But as you grow, more people you put in the problem gets bigger.
Jingjing, I know that you previously have experience doing this because you used to be running a home services business as well. Could you share how that played out from your perspective?
Yeah. So when I first started running Helpling, we're doing everything on spreadsheets, including when a lead comes in, they call my WhatsApp directly. I was the hotline. And then I find the cleaner who's free. I just go to the WhatsApp group asking, hey, who's free for this job? And then if someone take over, okay, cross that line on Excel, right? But that only lasted, I think, in 2 months because we grow out of that. Then you start looking for automation to really automate the process step by steps. You can't do automation at one go. You have to look at things that, okay, what's the most ROI that I can automate a thing that gets the most ROI, right? So, and then do it step by step, and eventually you automate the whole thing.
I would add that I think technology is something that cannot be left alone by itself. You have to embrace that. And I'll say that because if you look at the way we do business, and particularly for SMEs, you cannot continue to expect changes and improvement to your business revenue and bottom line if you do things the same way again and again and again. You have to figure a way of doing something different. I'm a fan of quantum physics, and Dr. Max Planck once said that if you're prepared to change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I mean, think of it again, right? Sometimes taking a different perspective to doing something helps you to innovate and get a breakthrough. And this is where technology can come in. And when it comes in, there's an expectation that perhaps you need to rethink the way you do business. I can quote you a very easy example. When I was in China, I discovered that there was a company developing cooking robots. Now we think, why would you want to have a cooking robot, right? And they say, hey, that's great for the food outlets to expand their business. And I scratched my head and say, hey, how do you do that, right? Cooking robots, you're going to displace the chef and somebody's going to get upset. But I said, no. What happens in Japan, they sold the machine to Japan. What the Japanese did is that the chef continued their work, but during the off hours, and if there's a food request, the chef can continue to rest, but the cooking robot could do the cooking, and food delivery service can come pick up the food and deliver to your customers. Now, instead of operating from 11 to 2 or 3 and 6 to 10, you now can operate 24/7 with a push button operator. And that, with technology, helps you to scale your business, get additional revenue, and improve your bottom line. So the investment they put in goes beyond just cost saving. It is a function of being able to improve your top line and achieve greater revenue.
I actually agree with this, especially I think in Singapore, there's actually a point where SMEs, they have to make this decision is when they have to pay GST. When they hit 1 million turnover, that's when the 9% kick in. Immediately, they feel the pain because most SMEs, they come straight from their salary, right? They have to decide, okay, I don't want to grow anymore. I want to keep my margin like this. Or the moment they think about, okay, I want to cross the GST line, they don't just grow by 1 or 2%. They straight up grow 10%. So the unit economic makes sense. So this is like quite Singapore specific kind of problem, but I agree with the robotic analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only two certain things in life are death and taxes.
Exactly.
So GST 9%. Okay, let's hang in there. So obviously we talk about 9%. Obviously it's a tax and so forth. What is the upside of technology? How much can you get? Can you get 9%? Can you get 20%? Can you get 5%? How should SMEs, because when you're thinking about it, it's like, okay, fine, okay, my son or my daughter is using technology, my competitors is using technology, but what does it mean for me in numbers and cents? How should people be thinking about that?
So let me jump in here, Jeremy. I think technology is a hype today, and everyone wants to get involved in technology. But I want to make sure that SMEs, as they jump in and adopt technology, they have to consider really hard. Are you aware of the technology that's available? Right? If you're unaware and you say, because my neighbor is doing it, I want to do it too, that's not the way to go. right? You need first of all understand what technology can do for you. And that's what I call technology unaware to technology aware. And once you become familiar with what technology can do for you, then the next question is, are you ready to adopt the technology? I work with a couple of SMEs and they say, hey, I want to use AI and I've got 30 years of experience. But when I talk to them, they showed me that their cabinet of files of records. I say, hold on, you haven't even digitalized your records. How are you going to use AI? Right? So you're not ready. So you need to get to the ready state. And when you're ready, then the question is your employees, your workforce ready? Right? Can they embrace technology? The last thing you do is you implement technology and your workforce rejects it. You get resistance. And that's not the way to go. Right? So it's a journey. It's not an overnight activity to embrace technology. So I would encourage SMEs to really take the step to understand technology, understand how to leverage technology to your benefit, and there may be some adjustments to your business operation model. You have to take that in. The example I quoted earlier about the cooking robot. The business owners in Japan adopted the fact that they have to hire an operator to manage this cooking robot. But think of the upside, the additional revenue that it generated, it pays off. So you need to think carefully, right? And like the comment I have, if you continue to do the same thing over and over again, expect improvement, it's not going to work. Technology can help you look at things from a very different way to improve your business.
Yeah. And then I agree, like also look at from problem-driven approach, right? Like, for example, most SMEs saying that, oh, I don't have enough leads. Then they go play around with Midjourney. Oh, this AI tool is so cool, so I want to start using it. Wait, but Midjourney doesn't help you to create more leads. It's just an image generation tool. Yes, but it's really cool. I want to buy it. That's not a problem-driven approach, right? So they first of all need to know, okay, do you have a cost problem or revenue problem? They're like, I just want to be more efficient. For what? You're more efficient, so do you see that immediately from number of man hour saving you can see, or like cost saving, or like you see a revenue increasing? What is it? What's the end goal for you to have a certain initiative? What's your current problem? So I think they can't just be like, oh, that's a sexy AI tool, I want to use it. It doesn't solve a problem, so there's no use.
And here, I guess, teaching myself sing the same song, right? AI, for example, we talk about that being a key topic. Everybody wants to do AI. You open up the papers, everyone is talking about AI. Every reporter is doing it. The media is hyping it up so much. But if you ask deeper, what do you want AI to do for you? You cannot have a good answer. And many of them will throw in another jargon. Oh, I want to do machine learning, I want to do deep learning, I want to do generative AI, LLMs. But I ask the question again, how do you want LLM to help you? How do you want Midjourney to help you, right? What's your problem that you're trying to solve? So when we start to look at all this hype around emerging technology, what is important is how would that technology help you in your business? How would you transform your business model, right, to embrace the technology? And that's the important message that we want to share. Don't just go for the FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, right? Because somebody is doing it, you have to do it too. You got to see whether you need it within your organization.
So, we mentioned something about how, employees will have pushback, right? And there's a phrase, and I'm sure that happens all the time, like, new technology, boo, like there's that pushback. Could you share more about adding examples of pushback? And also, let's talk about the problems first, and then eventually we'll talk about how we can overcome that. But what are the inertia or roadblocks to adoption?
I reckon that employee pushback has always been the fear of the unknown. They're not sure what this technology can do for them. And they're afraid that this technology may affect their job. Maybe they will be displaced. Maybe they do not know enough about the technology to be better than them. Machines are going to overtake what they're doing. So somehow, we really have to try to help them understand. There were a couple of situations where we deploy food delivery robots, right? I mean, you've been to some restaurants where the food gets delivered to the customers at the table. So I discovered that sometimes the employees would put roadblocks in front of the robot. And because of the obstacle, the robot could not move. And it's easy to say, hey, boss, machine not working lah. But in fact, it is them doing it. So if we can turn it around and help them understand why the machine is doing that, perhaps there's less spillage Perhaps it helps them with serving the customer better. Perhaps the machine can bring the food. Well, you can really explain to the customer the food quality and so on and so forth. It is a complement. So if we can help the workforce understand that technology is coming to augment their capability, it makes a great difference for them to accept the technology. But if management just push down the technology and say, do it without explaining and embracing the workforce into the change, you're going to see resistance. And I can go on to many, many examples, but this is just one example I would share. I'm sure Jingjing can tell you about more given her experience in adopting technology, right? But clearly, it is important that implementing technology is not a top-down, one man's decision. It is an organization that can come together and embrace the change together.
Yeah, definitely. Initially, when I first started doing sales, I go to a sales demo meeting. And when I demo it to the sales and operations people, the moment they saw the demo, like, wow, this is so nice. It's like it can save many of the hours. And then I just said one thing. I was like, yeah, when you go on holiday, when you come back, you don't have to do more work. Immediately, like, they remember, so I can be replaced? So that was a lesson I've learned. Don't say you can go on holiday perpetually. Instead, say when you come back from holiday, you have slightly lesser work. That's one thing I've learned, right? So number one, their fear of being replaced is real, especially when the AI coming up. In their mind, they're dealing with AGI.
Yeah.
They think it can 100% replace them, learn as it go, right? Without any form of training. But actually, in reality, it's really hard to get there at the current state. That's number one. Number two is that they're afraid that AI is going to make them to do more work. They're already busy most of the time. They just want to, still do good work and still draw the salary. Don't want to make any mistakes and don't want to be held accountable for any AI's mistake. So that's the second issue that we have with employee. And a lot of time nowadays, what we learn is that during the sales process, we have to get the owner's buy-in first, and then we have to get the sales people's buy-in first. Then we sign a contract. So we start educating the sales and operations people at the point of sales. So during onboarding, they're fully understood that, okay, instead of driving a horse carriage, we're giving them a car. So they need to learn how to drive a car. And then so they need to upgrade themselves. So instead of taking 10 days to go from CBD to Yishun, now it's an hour. So we use this analogy and then they get it so much better rather than going on holiday, come back being replaced.
Talking about the horse carriage,
Yeah.
I would like to give an example that changed our life at the turn of the 19th, 20th century. Yeah. If you look at some of the pictures of New York City, right, in 1906, there was this nice picture that's taken, and you find that the road is filled with horse carriages and only one automobile, right? 11 years later, 1917, the same street had all automobiles except one horse carriage. So I guess the message to the SMEs is if you embrace it well, you understand how to leverage technology, you can progress and scale. But you do not want to be the last horse carriage left on the street when technology is being adopted by the rest of your competition or the industry sector.
So, competition is a big thing, right? Which is, hey, my competitor is using this technology, this robot, this thing, whatever it is. How should SMEs think of or process that thought process?
No, there are few things we can do, right? There are a number of tools out there that helps you to assess your needs and your readiness. So the needs and readiness must come together because technology will be available. You can adopt Mid-Journey or Perplexity to help you, but it could be a toy that you play with that contributes zero to your business, right? So your readiness in terms of your business needs, your problems you're trying to solve, how urgent it is. Some problems may be there, but they've been teething problems over time and it has minimal impact on your organization. Some problems are there, small, but huge impact, and you need to address them very quickly, right? So how ready are you? And with that, your organization competency to support that. Then I guess the next thing is really look at the technology itself, right? You need to evaluate how each of these technology can support you. The evaluation of technology is not a simple exercise, but every now and then, every other month, you're going to hear a new announcement, right? You need to be clear what you want and how you can actually accept those technology into your organization. Sales sometimes can be a bit tricky. I've met salespeople who say, we adopt AI in our product. I ask, where exactly do you use AI? Oh, we use machine learning. So you get all this jargon coming in, but it didn't explain exactly what's been done. Let me give you an example, right? I know of companies that started to use ChatGPT in HR administration, and HR directors say, hey, why? How? So what happens is, this is a real case study, right? You get business unit managers who says, I need to hire X number of talents in this particular space. And then the ball gets tossed over to the HR director, say, okay, produce the job description and post the job. So what does the HR director do? Open up the drawer, pull out some of the standard job description and make a few corrections and posted it. It doesn't work that way. But with generative AI, there's a possibility whereby you can provide those descriptions to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can come up with a potential description of the job that's possible, looking at the needs of the hiring and the available skills in the marketplace and match them together. So each time you can produce a very unique and relevant job description versus a standard job description where you make a few corrections. Now, in that way, back to Jingjing's point, right? How can this technology help you do your job better? So the HR director could become the star of recruitment, right, with AI, versus the fact that you just continue to produce the same template for hiring. And that is happening today, right? That's happening today.
Speaking of template, recently I was doing some customer conversation audit. So obviously with our AI is we keep human in the loop. So human can intersect the conversation all the time, right? But there are also route to people cases where people will take over the conversation. And so when the customer support agent comes in, they send a lot of template message. When they send template message, you actually see customer reply, oh, you're an AI. It says a human is an AI because they use template, right? Their customer support agent not sitting in the office, sitting somewhere else. They want to follow your SOP. What that means is copy and paste the template. You get the same message every single time. And customer says, bring the human out. I don't want to talk to a bot. And the agent says, I am a human. It's like, you send me the same message. You are an AI bot. And customer clearly don't know AI cannot repeatedly, send a very exact same message. But I thought that was very funny.
In fact, slowly and surely, our expectation of technology is getting more and more higher and higher in terms of what we want the technology to do for us. And but what we really need to do is manage our expectation. Talking about bots, right? Chatbots has been there for a long time, right? Quite a number of years. But with AI, we see improvement. But users still feel that chatbot is not good enough. I was involved in a female entrepreneurship discussion just recently, and there was some feedback that the current chatbots are not good enough. So I asked the speaker and said, hey, why do you say that so? What do you compare with? I think part of it is when we have technology in place, we expect that the technology will do better and perhaps do as good what a human does, right? And that becomes a big challenge, right? And of course, we have situations where you get this repetition, and there's a situation whereby sometimes we got a high expectation, and that is where we need to figure out how to deal with that disconnect. And this is where both the user as well as the implementer needs to be able to manage the expectation what the technology can do for you. And it falls back into the foundation of what the problem you're trying to solve. Sometimes you implement technology that doesn't solve your problem, then you get into this template issue that Jingjing is talking about. And sometimes it's also a function of over-expecting. When you launch a message that says, I'm using AI, so expectation just get risen real high that you can do wonders. And probably part of the game is you're not ready for it, or it could be because you have leveraged the wrong technology to help you.
On that note, when you're thinking about technology, there's a lot of buzzwords and there's a lot of technologies they can use, and there's a lot of vendors that are out there. Some of them are sponsored by our government's PSG grant, right? Productivity Solutions grant. Some of them will say they're not, but they're on the way. So how do you pick a good vendor or advisor to help you make a decision?
I think do not jump into technology deployment until you know what it is about. See, the challenge is this: if you're technology unaware, you listen to everything the salesperson say. You look at ESG grants and say, okay, I'll just follow this. But you do not know what you need, and you do not know what technology is available to support you. So do your homework, right? I request all SME owners, all the Taukeis to say, do your homework to understand what technology can do for you, right? Attend courses, attend workshops, listen to conference speakers to understand what technology can do for you. Then map it back into your organizations. This is what I want to achieve. And when you know what you want, talking to sales is a lot easy because you can question how that supports you in making things better. You need to probably have your own in-house team eventually to support you because you do not want to rely completely on the salesperson coming to you with a product. You want to have in-house advisors, your own competent team to help you validate some of this technology and whether it works for you in the first place. So that becomes very essential for SMEs to move forward with technology. It's very easy to throw in a lot of buzzwords. I mean, the question I'll ask is, what does the technology do for you? How does it work in this particular functional area? Ask those two simple questions, and I'm very sure if you can get good answers, it's a good technology for you to consider. If the answer is very superficial, it may not get you anywhere.
Yeah. Jingjing, how about you?
I feel like they should try. They should try everything that they can find on the market. If any technology, straight up telling you that you have to pay 5,000 upfront in order for you to try, I don't think that's the right technology. Give you an example. Recently, I need to start doing outbound sales. So I need to try different channels to, start sending outbound emails, LinkedIn requests, and also calls, all that, right? I tried 40 tools in a week. And all 40, yes, I tried 40 tools and 10 of them are not like advertised AI powered, right? 30 are AI powered. You see a huge difference. Not those tools that's not AI powered, they're too old. And those tools that are AI powered, there's a range of them. But because I tried so many in such short period of time, there's clear winner. There's a few of them, they can solve my problem. But then lastly, how I make the final decision is pricing. I know, 5 out of 40 can actually do the job. Then I want to pick the cheapest, right, in my use case. So I think they should try. Don't just take the grant and say, today, actually, I met a client. They said 2 years ago, someone tried to build an AI brain for them 2 years ago. And the implementation was a year and a half, 50% sponsored by PSG. Even up until today, it's not launched yet.
Oh, no.
So they asked me the first question, how long does it take to implement your solution? I'm like, 3 weeks to 2 months, depends on what you have. They're like, no way. I said, yeah, if I don't launch it, I'll give you full refund, So, yeah.
It's just interesting as we talk about some of this implementation experience, right? Different clients kind of experience it very differently. Jingjing's sharing is actually very useful for SMEs to consider. And this is where I guess you are in the state of technology aware. You are aware of what's available to you. You don't just jump in because the first salesman comes in the nice suit and tells you that it works, right? You do your own homework and evaluation. And you involve your team because your team can be part of the people who's going to help you deploy the solution, right? So that is critical. And if you're able to achieve that, you're able to embrace your team with technology, then together as an organization, you move forward with the transformation. So this is critical. I guess message out to SME Taukeis, don't leave it to your IT manager. You need to get personally involved because the use of technology today transforms your business. Right? It's going to make a huge change. It's not a task that you can delegate because when you personally get engaged in evaluating technology and what's available, you know what works and what doesn't work. And that's the important task that you have to take. And perhaps that is part of the leadership you need to drive within your organization.
Can I borrow what you just said?
Sure.
Don't get your IT manager to try the sales tools.
Yeah.
Get your salespeople to try sales tools. I actually have seen this before. The company has marketing problem. They got their IT manager to try Google Ads. The IT manager says Google sucks. So that's why they don't run Google Ads. And that's the most ridiculous thing I've heard.
Yeah, I guess the opposite is also quite funny, right? It's like, can you ask the sales guy to run the IT database tools, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work that way around as well.
And that brings me to a thought, right? Where I suspect part of our education process is we tend to be quite silo, right? We're deep into IT, we're deep into sales, we're deep into HR. The crossing of the different domains or functions sits with the manager, with the boss. And we need the boss to step in to do that. And the boss probably needs to build a cohort of people who knows enough cross-functional to help evaluate technology. And Jingjing has a very strong point here, right? You get a technical person to evaluate a sales solution. What are you asking for? He's going to find the best technology that meets his needs and not what the sales need. And that's not going to solve your problem.
So how do people go about solving their problems?
Problem-driven approach, right? What's your pain point? For example, in my industry, I know now I know after so many cold calling, you cannot say yes to a job until you know who is free and who's near. Everybody's gonna say yes. Okay, if they said no, I know instantaneously. Then immediately I would just tell them, I have 7 condo, needs cleaning ASAP. And then they will say, let me check and get back to you.
Yeah.
And then I said, how long? 2 hours. Like, you can't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Then if you know the exact pain point, your problem's half solved.
Mm.
The problem is most business owners, they don't know what exactly is the pain point. They just hear it from people on the ground, right? I think maybe listen to people on the ground and get them to figure out what's the best solution for them. That's one way.
And I think Jingjing has a good point, right? You need to know what is hurting you most, right? And that's why technology can be the biggest impact. And to understand what is hurting a business most, sometimes as a business SME leader, you need to get involved to appreciate that. Feedbacks that come to you tend to get filtered. You don't get a whole picture. And when you don't have the whole picture, you cannot make the best decision, right? So you need to get involved. And I guess as you do the evaluation of technology, one big thing to consider is you need to make your priorities right. You need to have your priorities right in a sense whereby where are the critical pain points that's going to give you the biggest impact. Solve that first. Don't solve the easy ones and claim that you have got technology in place when the whole business is hurting, right? So do that. Another aspect is you got to think of technology deployment as a journey, right? It starts from day 1, day 2, and it's going to happen over time. The quick wins, early successes are encouraging. So sometimes you're going to look at that. How can we put something together and we can celebrate and then move on to the second step. Do not go for the most difficult task to handle. You're going to discourage your whole team from using technology. So as a business manager, you got to think really hard where you want to focus on. And that's what is going to make a difference. And whether it's the IT manager, the sales manager, or the admin manager, honestly, they look to you as an SME Tauke to make that judgment. And if you make the right judgment, you get money rolling in, right? If you leave it to democratic views of what happened, you're not going to get it done.
That's a very good point. Don't make a democratic decision. Don't get everyone to vote. I had an early client who was our design partner. When they decide which customer support tool to use, they get their cleaning supervisor to vote as well, who never use it. So they have a whole office, 50 people, 5 management, cleaning supervisor, the customer support people, and then even cleaner in the office, the frontline staff, right? Who never get to use this product, they all vote. And
Great
eventually they vote no. Why? Because if you get someone who's sitting in Philippines making $300, right, a month, making a decision, buying another technology that costs $300, like, no, boss, I'm going to work harder. I cost less, right? So that's the decision making you're going to get.
So, as we think about, this implementation, what are, from your perspective, the success stories that people can expect from deploying technology and AI?
So AI today is a big buzzword. Everybody thinks that they know AI. But the bigger danger is we think we know AI before we really understand what AI is. Now, to be clear, right, AI is not equal to generative AI. Generative AI is just one part of AI, right? There's a lot more technology involved in AI. So as you start to explore what technology can do, what AI can do for you, it is important to understand the aspects of AI that can help you with the business. I kind of repeat this very often because many a times what you do not want to do is have a technology looking for a problem to solve.
Yeah.
right? If you ask the technically passionate person, he's going to do that. If you ask the researchers, they're going to sell that to you too. You as a business owner must establish what you want and how you want the technology to help you. So AI in itself has many use cases, right? I mentioned to you about the job description, the JD created by generative AI, because that organization know exactly what they want, right? They wanted to fix a particular problem, not to use standard templates to hunt for talents, right? They want to use templates that really spell out the relevant requirements for the job. So think about what you really want to solve, and that is probably the most important. The second thing is really around the commitment of the whole organization. If we are committed to AI as an organization, it is not the IT manager's role alone. It is the business manager, it is the tauke's, it is the operation staff. Because then everyone is proud to say that we do AI and everyone can explain how to do AI. And it's not like, I don't know, he did it, so ask him. And when you have the kind of response, you know that AI has not rolled out properly. AI can be a partner and a friend. I believe in the function of 0 to 1 and 1 plus. And let me explain that. Assuming that 1 is your ideal performance that you as a business manager want to achieve, and you're today perhaps 0.5, 0.6, you're getting there. How can AI help you achieve your ideal performance, right? And AI can do that. That means you know exactly what you want to achieve. Secondly is, if you have achieved your ideal performance, is that the end of the journey? My answer is no. Because you can do 1 plus, you can extend that potential. Maybe it's 1.2, 1.5, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 5. We don't know. So as a business manager, it allows you to scale and think beyond the 9 dots. So the example I gave earlier around the restaurants in Japan, they were pretty smart. They expanded their business hour with the use of the robots, right? And they could roll in a lot more revenue, maybe perhaps even more than what the operating hours are, by doing the food delivery service. So think about it that way, right? How we can best embrace technology, and you will get very wonderful results. So back to your point, right? AI, a buzzword, but be ready for it, right? Get the organization involved, and think about the 0 to 1 and 1 plus. That's the journey that Tauke must think about, right? It's not just moving from 0 to 1, it's the plus that you'll be interested in and commercially motivating for you to step onto the journey to implement AI technologies.
Thank you so much. On that note, wrap things up here. Could you folks share how people can contact you if they would like to follow up with you?
Oh yeah, just go on my homepage, Superbench.ai, and there's a WhatsApp widget there, and then just talk to that WhatsApp, and then I'm sitting behind it.
Are you sure it's you? Is that an AI?
Give it a try.
Give it a try. We'll find out if I can tell the difference. How about yourself?
My name's Oliver Tian, so it's easy to reach me out on LinkedIn. If you like, we do have a website that contains all the different sharing that we've done over the last few years, since 2019. Over the last few years, IARA as an organization have reached out to many countries and universities to share latest technology. So if you go to aibotics.tech, AI in robotics, so it's spelled aibotics.tech, you'll get a repository of content about people who can share and talk about technology. So the best way to reach out to me is through LinkedIn. Oliver Tian, you should be able to find me connecting technology to humans. That's me.
Awesome. And for myself, I'm Jeremy Au. So you also find me on LinkedIn at Jeremy Au. This is AU. And you can also find me on the podcast for Brave Southeast Asia, which is at www.bravesea.com. On that note, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you so much. Thank you.